Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to talk to you all through a camera lens, so I'm going to give this my best shot. It's obviously not the 12th. We are going to pre-record some of this in advance just in case the weather is terrible on the 12th. So we're going to put as much as we can record it today as the weather is pretty decent. Welcome to Provender Nurseries. This is the entrance to Provender where all our customers come and enter the business. Where customers park up, grab trolleys, go shopping, or they walk around the site selecting and tagging plants for their landscape projects. We are trade and trade only. All our customers have trade cards and have to apply to get a trade card with us. The business started in 2003 under the name Wyville East, and then we traded under that name up to 2013, and then we had a slight change in structure and we became Provender Nurseries, and we've been Provender Nurseries since the 1st of January 2013. When we first started, there was in 2003 I and two others spent 6 months laying block paving, building glass houses, putting in infrastructure. There was 3 of us, there was 5 of us, there was 6 of us, and then over the years we've grown to a larger company. There's now 70 plus staff. We have in excess of 1,000 customers, or 10,000 customers registered with us, and 3,000 of them are active within a year period, and 7,000 are active within a 3-year period. Some of our landscape customers we see regularly, but some of the building and development customers we only see once every 6 months or once every 18 months. So what I hope to do, I'm going to walk you through the main part of the cash and carry where the customers go shopping, but I want to bring you guys to the back of the business where we import our plants, goods receive our plants, handle our plants, and do an awful lot of work behind the scenes and what most customers and most people don't see. I think it could be interesting for you guys to understand what we do and the changes we've done. So let's go for a walk through the cash and carry, and I'll point some bits and pieces out as we go along. So customers will pick a trolley up and then either go buy plant material or we'll go buy sundry material. We do about 25% of our sales are sundry orientated. So do sand, soils, composts, fertilizers, stakes, tools, but the majority of what we do is plant orientated. So these are the bays where people park their trolleys up in if they want to take them away with them today, and we will come and we'll scan the plants here. Everything is barcoded, and right now it's bulb season. Actually, so we've been selling quite well. We need more than we can't get. Which way will I walk? Let's walk up this way. Let's go this way. This is our courtyard. Do a lot of half standards, ilex, photinias, prunus, bays, stock, plants. Some of the more tender items, some aloes, some argives, kalanchoes, fatsias, very popular. Got 3-4 different varieties, especially that green fingers at the back. That's lovely. People are loving green fingers in garden designs at the moment. Really cool looking plant. I'm trying to find them bigger at the moment. We got some 5 litre, but really need some 25 litre if we can. Ferns all does really, really well. We can't get enough of them. Really good supply in the autumn, but we struggle to find enough ferns in the spring and summer. This is one of our main sales glass houses, and this building changes role throughout the course of the year. Now we'll start bringing agapanthus, phormiums, cordylines inside, and my phone's ringing. Is it important? No, it can wait. It can wait as I drop my phone. In here, as I said, we'll bring all the phormiums and agapanthus in for the winter, but during the summer months it'll be bedding plants, it'll be seasonal, it'll be herbaceous. We'll put tables in here. The shape of this building changes throughout the course of the year, but it'll be rammed full of stock in for winter protection in 6 weeks time, 5 weeks time. Right, we're working up the top of the site. We'll show you the back end. This is our main sales area of 2-3 litre stock. So we've got climbers down the left hand side, shrubs here, and then herbaceous the far side, with fruit trees at the back, 10 litre shrubs along the side, roses and lavenders and hebes at the back right. So the irrigation is slightly different. And this is the nursery office. So we put the nursery office right in the middle of the nursery. So all the nursery team looking after all the plants operate out of here, in among all the plants. Oh, Jonathan. Hiya. So right now here we are, end of September. We are starting to bring in a lot of stock. We're bringing in 6-7 Arctic loads a week at the moment. This taxes display will look very, very different in 10 days time. We got about 200 taxes bowls in 6 different sizes, more spirals, more cones, more cloud trees, more multi-bowls. So this display here will be rammed in literally a week's time. So this is some of our own production. As a nursery, we've always purchased from great suppliers, but over the last year, 18 months, we've started doing some of our own production of some core lines. Have been getting either too expensive, our lines have been difficult to import or source in the UK. So Irrigation cavoriensis, it's Mexican fleabane, it's a weed in some parts of the country, but we sell thousands and thousands of them a year. Acamilla mollis and good old salvia. Yeah, this is caradonna. I think we sell about 7,000 or 8,000 caradonnas a year. So we've started producing some of these ourselves now. We are using a recyclable pot, which is a must these days, and all the growing media we use internally is peat-free to help save the planet a little bit. This is some stock that's coming in. The beds are full, so we're starting to use some of the beds, some of the roadways now as overflow. We have a whole pile of skimmies come in, but we're doing more and more of the proven winners range. We're working with William in the continent, so we're bringing in some of the more the hydrangeas, some of the spireas. It's looking great. Yeah, double play. Doozy and the caradonnas, should I say Caryopteris, beyond midnight. I saw these in Holland a few weeks ago. So we've taken on more and more of the proven winners range. It's proving popular, but not everybody knows it, so we've got a bit of work to do in education there. These are our specimen beds. Bed on the right's all deciduous, and the bed on the left is right is evergreen, left is deciduous. Most of them learn my lefts and rights, and that's for irrigation purposes. A lot of this site is laid out for irrigation purposes and for watering. Sometimes in January, February, we have to water all the evergreens. When we mix stock up, we can have real water issues. And it's a very hot, windy site. And like all the hydrangeas, we put in water trays for the summer months. And these will need to come out of these shortly. But the water trays saves a lot of difficulty with certain plants. So these need to come out of these imminently, actually. Right, still walking up the site, starting to get to the business end now. Hello.
Hi.
Morning, afternoon. Right, this is the back of the business. This is where customers don't get to see, and this is what we have built over the last 18 months. We had a similar process down in the lower yard. It just wasn't big enough, and it was actually getting dangerous. There's too many trucks and not enough space. So what we've done here is built ourselves a yard for bringing vehicles into, and we're dividing up stock. So lorries arriving here with trolleys will deliver into this building here, and we got different bays, and then we receive our trolleys in here, and then the goods are checked off for quantity, for right pot size, make sure they're healthy, make sure that our purchase order and our delivery matches up. Plants will hopefully spend a day and a half in here max before they go down into the sales area. It can hold 2 Arctic loads of plants, so plus a bit, so we can hold about 100-120 trolleys in here. We had 2 truckloads come in yesterday, which is made it pretty full. In actual fact, it's very full. So we got 6 or 7 members of staff who will check the goods in, produce the labels, get them put away. So the biggest problem we're going to have in a few days' time is space, because every part of the nursery is going to be very, very full. Very full. Right. Hi, Chris.
Hello. How are you?
Very good. I'm mic'd up, so nothing rude. Right. So this for me is a very important part of the puzzle. This facility here allows us to drive trucks in here, open the doors, drive the trucks in, and we can offload trucks day, night, summer, winter, in a much better environment. So we can drive a truck up, pull the curtain back, and take all the plants off it if it's side loaded or side unloaded. It's a much safer environment. We have the height. The lowest point of the shed is 7 meters. So we got the height, it's fully lit, and we've kept this side open simply if we can bring forklifts and cages in and out much safer. We felt if we put doors in, the door could actually lead as an accident point, and also poor visibility lines. So by leaving the barn open, it's hopefully made life a lot easier. It's not being used at the moment. We actually had a staff party here last Friday night, so it's probably the cleanest and emptiest it's ever been. And there's still some lights still hanging up around the edge that have not been taken down. We've got a gentleman here putting some security cameras up. So we are looking to keep an eye on the site with cameras. So if you're in an office, you can see what trucks are coming in and going out. And if we have any security issues, the place is all lit up and camered up. Right, come on through. So what we do here, we bring trucks into this yard. We have not built our new entrance onto the better road access yet. That'll be done shortly. But actually we're bringing trucks up our existing entrance at the moment, which shares with customers. We will split customers and deliveries coming in. Deliveries will come in their own separate entrance, hopefully in about 2 months' time. Trucks come in, we either send them into Bay 1, for which are trucks that mainly have customer orders on board. Bay 2 is for stock for the cash and carry, and then we send trucks around the corner for if they're full of trolleys into the trolley receiving bay. As I said, yesterday we had 2 full trucks of trolleys, both of them from the continent, both Holland, and we had a truckload of plants in from Italy yesterday as well. So these plants are out here waiting till they're inspected. We have the inspection tomorrow morning on these, and we have another truckload, if not 2 truckloads of loose coming in today or very early tomorrow morning. So hopefully there'll be 3 lorry loads of plants to inspect here tomorrow morning. The cages are an important part of the business. So when we offload loose trucks, we fill up the cages. We have about 124. And if I had 224, it wouldn't be enough when we're really busy. But we offload onto the cages. Then we'll run the cages around the nursery, putting stock away. So we try and handle the stock as little as possible. Water tanks. The taller water tank is off the barn. We collect all the rainwater, and the slightly shorter one is off our new polytunnel that we're building. It's 45 meters by 80 meters long, 10-meter bays, and the 2 bays that are not quite complete at the moment, we're going to turn that into 4 isolation pods. So if stock has to be isolated for a period of time before it's inspected, instead of leaving the plants outside getting blown around in the wind, we can actually put the plants in under protection, better looked after, better irrigation, and we can do a better job isolating them. So those 4 pods will be up and running, I'm hoping, in about 2 weeks' time. Then the middle half of the building is for our own production. We have about 100,000 lavenders we're going to produce through this tunnel, and some of the 2 or 3 litre herbaceous, the high volume lines. So it's a new venture for us, and it's quite exciting. So we're not in there yet. We're about 3 weeks behind on the construction of the tunnel, maybe 4 weeks now. I've never known a building project to go on time, and this one has duly been late. The hardest part is just getting materials, as this year we're all finding. Thankfully, I ordered a building in January. It arrived here the last week in May. We started building it in June. The building was 118,000 flat packed, and when I ordered it in January, and if I'd ordered it in June, it would have at least 50,000 more. So I'm glad I ordered it when I did, because we wouldn't have paid that much if we'd ordered it in June. Right, let's go for a walk this way. I'll show you some more. Just walking back around, I'll pick up on a few bits of stock coming in. Like, we've also got Magnolia Grandiflora, a normal freeform shape. Must have been 300 litre pots. And then we got Magnolia Grandiflora on a frame. So this type of stock we're selling more and more of. And obviously these cages over here, we got Photinia, variegated Photinia, Euonymus coming in, all on frames, where gardens are getting smaller. People are wanting privacy, so Photinia standards, 1.8, 2 meter clear stems with heads on them. So this product is becoming more and more. We keep about 2,500 to 3,000 trees down the front field in pots, be it normal free form, or be it trained, or in espalier, or whatever, 3/4 standard, full standard. We'll go down there and have a show you later on. But we have, in the busy season, from now till the end of February, we probably have between 3 and 5 truckloads of loose a week, filling up. So we bring an awful lot of stock in between now and the end of February. So come March, April, May, which are our 3 peak months, getting the stock out the door, we're actually concentrating ourselves on getting stock out the door. We cannot bring all the stock in and all the stock out when we're really busy. So we just use the winter months just filling. So we're by the end of February, there's no space left on site. By end of March or early May, space is being created every day. And this year, season gone by, we normally replenish when we are busy, but we just didn't have the stock to replenish. But thankfully we had a lot of stock on site, so we actually had a pretty good spring. We had a lot of stock, and we've actually probably never as empty as we were or are at the end of August this year. So we have more space to fill this year, which is good. So by the end of today, this part of the barn will be full of trolleys and orders ready for delivery tomorrow. So today the guys are trolleying up, collating tomorrow's deliveries. So when the trucks come back off delivery today, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, the driver can empty out his empty trolleys or his empty pallets, whatever he may on board, and then grab tomorrow's deliveries. So we can turn around refilling our own trucks much quicker now. And also today is a slightly windy day, so the stock's being looked after better. We can water the stock and prep it for delivery much better now than we ever have before. Especially, we tested this a little bit this summer. The yard wasn't quite finished, and it sped up our order collation. We made less mistakes. Orders were going out complete, which was one of our problems in the past. We always forgot one plant, it felt like. Right, let's go. So at the moment we use this open yard space as our order bay. The order bay needs to be an awful lot bigger and an awful lot nicer for the guys to collect the stock pre-delivery. So we have this end of the building, the tunnel we've been building, as an order bay. So we've taken out some posts to make it more driver friendly. We've chopped it up into 4 sections for irrigation purposes. So my colleague Tom is doing the irrigation. So we got 4 areas of this tunnel for irrigation purposes, and we will collate all the orders in this building 24/7. There's lights to go in. The electricians are here at the moment putting lights in the yard. We've converted nearly the whole site now to LED over the last 18 months as well. These are our lavender liners that arrived last week, and they will be potted to go into this tunnel, which will be our first ever production on site. So we've had a new potting machine arrive a week ago. We put the electrics in last week, and there's going to be 2 plug points in here, so we can actually use our own potting machine to fill this as quickly as we can. And as I said, these will be the 4 isolation pods at the back of this building. We've got to continue the roadway. There's some doors to be done, and we'll put a hard standing at the far end of this building and try and make the place as level, as clean as possible. Block paving, we have put down nearly 4,500 square meters of block paving over the last 9 months. So yeah, we've buried an awful lot of money. I'm just going to show you some other orders going out to delivery next week. So we obviously got some pots, some flowering herbaceous, cubas, cannas, ferns, conifers, ligustrum half standards, ceanothus, griselinia and privet, astelias. We got some 18-litre astelias and some 3-litre astelias, astelia red shadow, some taxus and beech at the back, some bamboo, some tall russ. So it really is the right mix of material. We're hoping that when people come here, when they walk around the cash and carry, they're able to find enough stock to design and build a whole garden with all the materials they needed to achieve that. Right. We're only finishing the yard off at the moment, where the guys finished a block paving last week. We're actually just finishing off some surfaces around the block paving to get it finished. So we have our own machinery. We have our own 13-ton 360, our own 3.5 tonner. We have our own dumpers, our own trucks. So we used to hire them in, but over the last 4 or 5 years I've just been buying them, and we've saved ourselves a fortune. But we're constantly building, it feels like. These are pretty cool. We bought these trailers recently. Yeah! We got these in Holland, and these cages fit really nicely in these trailers. So when we run trees around the nursery collecting orders, loads of tree orders, we put a cage on the buggy, and the buggy is nice and low, so when we're lifting the trees up, we don't have to lift them very high, and these rails come off and on very easy. So these two trailers and these cages, a lot of the guys in the nursery really like, and we can pull them with electric buggies if need be. We have 4 electric buggies we use for lifting orders. And that's the electric buggy and the normal trailers we use at the moment. So the majority of our plants go to people's back gardens. The majority of plants that our customers do gardens in around the London area. So there tends to be an interesting mix of choice plants. So even though we supply landscapers and garden designers and contractors, we very rarely do massive orders. So these buggies and these trailers, 2 or 3 loads can easily be a delivery. We have an awful lot of customers that spend regularly, but not huge amounts. There's business like us that only concentrates on the really big guys, but we've made a conscious decision to go for the mid-size customer, landscaper, designer, to one-man bands, and we have a lot of them, so it's kind of risk management, you could argue. But these electric buggies are great. Hello. So these buggies can pull a ton. We had 1, we had 2, we had 2 for years, and then we actually bought 2 more last year. They're electric, they charge up, and away they go. Biggest problem sometimes is flat tires, but now we've foam filled most of the tires, so we've got rid of that problem. Right, let's go back down the bottom. Pump house. I'm not quite sure if you'll all be excited about water, but over the last 2-3 years we've had some hot days in July or August. We've got very, very low in water. So we have decided, or we did decide, to build more water tanks. So we built 3 tanks here, which gives us about 1,200 cubic meters of water, plus the 2 tanks we use to collect the rainwater off the buildings. So those 5 tanks are new this year. We built a transfer pump house to move water from those 2 tanks down to here, and we built a new pump house here to water all the new part of the nursery. We've also linked the new pump house to the old pump house, so if there's ever an electrical fault or a power fault between both pump houses, we can transfer water between both pump houses, so we can move water around the site. An awful lot of pipework and cabling was buried under the ground the last year to try and facilitate this, actually the last 2 years. Most of the water in this area is, the mains water is horrible with lime. The borehole water we lift is out of pure chalk. Our borehole's 125 meters deep, and sometimes it doesn't yield very little water. And we have 2 main supplies, so we got rainwater, 2 mains, and borehole feeding the irrigation in the site. On a really hot day, an existing area, we can get through 130, 150 cubic meters of water a day easily. And now with a new production area and the expansion of the site in general, I can see that consumption going up next year. Let's bring it down to the pump house. I'm quite excited about it. So this for me gives me a lot of security. All the water that comes on, apart from the rainwater, so the borehole water and the 2 mains water, goes into 1 tank, and we pull that water out of that tank and it goes through this acid rig, and then it gets put back into the tanks, and then that's mixed with the rainwater, and then when we actually go to irrigate, the water comes out of the tanks through a final filter, through a secondary rig, then it's mixed, so it's topped up. The water is so limey, we can't use 1 rig to put all the nitric acid in, so we have to have it over 2 rigs to spread the workload. And then we have these 2 pumps pumping water around the nursery, the new area especially. So 1 pump is all we need, but we have a second one as backup while we build it now. And these hydrovars are clever bits of kit. So yeah, between the 5 water tanks, the pump house, the irrigation is buried, all the trigger cable for the controller, in excess of 125,000 on water last year. But it's given me massive peace of mind that we have much more water on site. We have much better control of the water, and I now have a full-time irrigation guy on site, Tom, who joined us back in January, or February, and it's really, really important too. He's got the transfer pump house, the new top field pump house, the original pump house, and then we have another pump house in the front field looking after all the trees. So he's got a full-time job managing them. It's good. It's really, really important. We're in the sunny southeast, so we either have too much rain or none at all. So feast or famine with water. But we're managing it better. So I'm starting to walk back down now into the main sales area, open to customers. That's our shed up the top, our trolley receiving areas off to the left, and our order bay tunnels off to the right. So when we get orders that we have to deliver or being collected, the plants will leave the cash and carry and go up to the order bay to be delivered or collected. Our customers, if they walk in, they grab a trolley, they'll walk around the site and they'll pick the plants they want, and they'll go back to the tills and out the front door and load their vans up and they'll go. So, and then we have multiple sources of orders really. We got the guys on the phones taking orders, we have the guys on the back of emails doing quotes, and we have an e-commerce team as well, and then we have customers walking in just picking what they want. So our stock control, our sales, so when stocks arrives, it goes on the computer system. Computer system is updated every 15 minutes, so that'll take on board any new stock that's just arrived or any stock we've sold or allocated to orders. Everything inside's barcoded with plant passport numbers to comply with regulations. All our sales are traceable and trackable. So the most important job that I do is just to make sure we have continuity of supply of stock coming in from our growers. So having working relationships with our growers, having them understand that we're not a garden centre, we need rhododendrons 12 months of the year. Loads of nurseries like to sell out by the end of February, early March, so they have no rhododendrons for the rest of the year till come around next autumn. So for us, we have to work really, really hard to have all the products 12 months of the year. Tree ferns, we sold our last tree fern in early May, and our delivery came in the very first week in September, and we've already sold probably about a third of our tree ferns for the year ahead. So these are imported directly up from Australia. Rhododendrons and azaleas, this building was completely empty for June, July and August. We had no stock in here, and we're now starting to refill this building. We have on the trolleys that came in yesterday, we got 8 trolleys of 2 and 3 litre evergreen and deciduous azaleas. So I'm not quite sure where they're going to go in here, so I have a feeling this building is going to spread out onto the roadway for the next few months. Bloom bucks, really good, out of Heine in Germany. The rhododendrons, large portion from Osburton's, UK grown. Here's our overflow quarter standards and half standards. Pines, prunus, lagostramias. Lagostramia is a relatively new plant, but they're doing really quite well the last few years. I've been loving them for 10 or 12 years, and we had some lovely plants in the front field that people just didn't know about them, but are starting to get a bit of traction, which is great. We often find ourselves having to educate our customers about plants. So you'd expect our garden designers and landscapers to know all the plants and know everything, but they know the 50 plants or 100 plants they learned at college, and they'll use them in every job. So a large part of what we do is education, if they want to listen. There's another buggy, more orders being lifted. Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Nice sunny day.
It's gorgeous. Lovely to see you.
And you, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Keep on saying sorry. This building over here is full of acers. To the right of it is hedging. 25 litre, 2 metre as a general rule. Then down the middle here is 3, 4, 5 litre hedging. And we have some 10 litre hedging through here. So this is mainly our hedging area, and that refills regularly. Just ordinary bush shape. Nothing trimmed or trained. Balls. Ilex crenata, dark green, is very popular. It's taking over a lot of the place of Buck's blight and Buck's caterpillar this year has been horrendous. My own garden has been annihilated. I spent too much time here and not enough time looking after my own garden. Conifers, I love conifers. I think conifers are amazing. Pines are amazing. So I've been always pushing pines. And again, the low growing, tight growing forms have done really, really well the last 2 or 3 years. And we're doing more and more pines. Osmanthus bulbs, people are loving as well. Obviously lovely white fragrant flowers. Trees, we do a range of 10-15 litre stock, but the majority of trees we sell are a 35-40 litre, 10, 12, 12, 14, that when a landscaper puts it in somebody's garden has real impact. So we do some smaller trees, but it's not really our main gig. Liquid ambers are looking stunning. Nisses are starting to look fantastic. Euonymuses are looking fantastic. So this is probably the hardest part of the nursery, surface wise. So we're thinking about ripping all this out in a year's time, redoing all the lines, redoing all the spacing, because we used to have this just for big trees, but we moved all the big trees down the front field about 4 years ago. So the spacing for this, it doesn't quite work for what it is. The surface is not particularly good, not particularly customer friendly. So this could be an area of more capital expenditure in the future. Birch multi-stems, this is an introduction size, 25 litre. We got Betula albicinensis fascination and Jack Montii. I think there's about 4 varieties down there. Heading back into the shop. So again, to give you guys a reference, that's the shed point up there. So stock just comes down the site now. Customers, when they fill trolleys up and come back towards the till, the till's behind me, and it is all downhill for customers. Hopefully make life easier. Large part of what we do is pots. We import some of these pots directly from China. We placed an order a year ago, and anybody who's involved in shipping at the moment, the pots are cheap and the transport is ridiculously expensive. So we're hoping our container might arrive sometime in the next 2 months, maybe. But the transport is 1.5 times the value of the goods in the container. In here is the quoting office. You can stick your nose in. There's nobody in here, come on in. Hi Graham, I'm going to stick the camera in here for a second. You can hide your head or wave. So this is the quoting office, and the Sundries team are in here. This was built 4 years ago now. It's to keep on expanding the team, and most of our buildings are inside the glass house to get around planning permission. So aircon is really, really important in here because these offices can get really, really quite warm. But we're in the heart of the action. You're in among our customers, can come and say hello or drive us nuts. Right, this is the checkout area. This is the sundries area, dry goods. So when we sell plants, we should be able to sell some of the supporting material to plants. So we got irrigation along the back wall, really important. Sell a lot of grass seed, 20 kilogram, 10 kilogram, and smaller bags, wildflower seed, lawn care, lawn fertilizers, liquid feeds, granular feeds, bulk bag feeds, tools along the back, leaf scoops, more lawn care, grilla tubs, incinerators, rakes, shovels, our range of weed killers and pesticides and fungicides are going down and down. So soon we'll be wishing the bugs away. And some landscape fabrics. We used to sell a lot of landscape fabrics underneath the barks and gravels, but less and less people are using them at the moment. I think that's a pushback against using plastic in the garden. We sell an awful lot of bag material in bulk bags, which I'll show you next. Lawn edging, bamboo canes, tree anchoring kits, tree strapping, tree ties, tree stakes, platypus root anchoring systems, rabbit guards and weed mats. So yeah, let's go outside and look at the supporting material, the bigger stuff. So that's the entrance of the shop. So this is the yard in front of the shop, and in here is our bulk bag storage area. So we get materials delivered loose and we fill our own bags, and then we either deliver these bags or we've got customers driving in and collecting them. We probably deliver about 2/3 of what we sell. We got 3 26-ton flatbeds with cranes on them or piggyback forklifts in the back for delivery. We got a 18-ton curtain sider with big tail lift for delivering trolleys, and we got 2 vans for delivering trolleys and smaller goods as well. And we have another curtain sider with big tail lift arriving in February for doing deliveries. But this yard is actually really important. We got grits, sand, soils. This side we got different colour aggregates, stones, cobbles, gravels. This side over here we got more, but the main area is in our own bags along the back. We got multi-purposes mix, we got topsoil, organic compost, bark nuggets, lightweight soil mixes, we got irrigation mix, border bark, Kent ragstone. That stone that shouldn't be there, that should be over there. Well, these are the bays that we get the loose materials delivered into. On a busy week in the spring, we can be filling between 500 and 700 bags a week. So we have a forklift full-time filling bags in here, and the volume lines that we sell a lot of in stone, we have 5 or 6 stone bays, and we got 2 different colour slates, we got different aggregates, and when we fill, we get these products in delivered loose and we fill these ourselves. Some of the slower lines we buy the bags in filled. And here's one of our trucks going out in delivery. So I'll probably grab the 4 bags from down the yard, and I'll probably drive up to the top shed and grab some plants to go. That's the traitor among the fleet, that's the Volvo. All the others are Mercedes. But we actually struggled to find a truck this year because the congestion charge, our low emission zone changed and is constantly changing. All our trucks have to be Euro 6s, and there's a 9-month, a year long waiting list for new trucks to go into London. So we found a Euro 6 up in Scotland in December last year. We bought it just to try and give us more capacity to deliver. So we were looking for another Mercedes to match all our existing ones, but we had to make a decision: do we want to deliver or not deliver? So we bought a Volvo. Anyway, minor detail. Okay, I showed you the bulk bag products, but most of the bulk bag products we have in small bags that are maybe 25 kilogram or 50 litre or 60 litre. We got hydroleicas and topsoils, virtually everything we have. So some of our jobs are rooftop gardens in the middle of London or whatever. We delivered 5 ton of soil and materials to a garden. Everything had to go up a lift. So we delivered it at 12 o'clock at night time with the first load. The second load went at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the second load went at 5 o'clock in the morning. So this job was done overnight when the lifts were available. So a bit of a weird one, but sometimes we just have to do that. So having all the products available in different sizes and different capabilities just gives our customers more options and gives us more options to facilitate looking after our customers. Right, let's go in front tree field. Right, tree field. As I said earlier on, we keep about 2,500–3,000 trees down here. Generally we have small garden trees, so we don't have many big oaks or big limes or big trees. we tend to have trees that are more garden orientated, streetscape, smaller. Liquid amber, slender silhouette, great tree. Where a normal liquid amber gets a much bigger head on it, but we do sell both. Liquid amber gumball, another great tree. So we're always looking for varieties that work for our customers and our designs. Catinus, normally is a shrub or a specimen shrub. We got some here as standards. And Cercis, weeping one, at 3 meters. Gleditzias, Robinias, Polonias, Euonymus standards, Amalankia standards. Liriodendron as a multi-stem, and there's my lovely Lagostramias. We got some multi-stems and single stems, just starting to show their autumn colour now. Great trees. Cherry line. A very empty Malus line. We're waiting for more Malus to come in. What do we have in here? Sorbus and Carpinus line. All the flowering dogwoods. The Magnolia line. Handful of oaks. Dwarf oaks or beech hedging. Parish Chanticleers. Handful of just ordinary green beech. Our Acer line. One of my favourites, Acer Griseums. Just amazing. And these pots are really cool. These slot pots. So more and more trees we're finding in a solid slot pot. The black bags. The black bags are great as well because good air through. It's a good air pruning at the same time. We physically can't water. The irrigation down here in the summer months runs 4 cycles a day. We used to run it on 2 and almost water them too much and flush them out. Where now we're watering a little bit less but more often. So we've changed that this year. And that tree there is really dry because it's actually missing a dripper. Yeah, I'm trying to find a new tree guy to leave one member of staff permanently down in the front field looking after the stock. We're selling more and more. This needs some care. It's been really windy last night. I'm actually quite surprised there's not more trees lying over. I found these trees. These are the tree ties we used to use down here. We used to have to wire them on. It's like a rubber block. We had to wire it on, but over time these used to break. So then I found these tree ties in Spain, and they actually bolt on to the back of the line, and they're on Velcro, and then a clip on them, and these work really well. I believe they're made in the States, but they work really well. So over the last 5 years we've invested about 30,000, 35,000 in these clips and ties, simply because they're just much easier. If anything, we've had some trees snap above line, or we've actually had the whole line broken with the wind, but we have less scraping of our damage of any trees. Actually virtually no scraping or damage on the trees now on the lines anymore, which was a problem. So that's now been solved. We put grass between the tree lines because when a landscape or a garden designer brings his customer here and they have a really nice walk around, we often find customers having picnics in here in the summer months, in among the trees, picking the trees that they want, or to come down with a mug of tea or coffee in the winter months and they walk up in their lines picking the trees they want for their gardens. Customers red tag up the trees that they want for an order, and then we put their code on it, and then when the tree is tagged, we bring the tree from here up to the order by getting ready for delivery or collection. I've got the guys down here putting some trees away. Let's have a look. This bit of kit is really important to us. The Avant, we got 2 of these, with a 3rd one arriving hopefully in the next 6 months for moving stock, grabbing pots, moving them around the nursery. Really important bits of kit. It saves an awful lot of grief, and you guys can get more work done easier without having people off with bad backs. And here the guys moving some stock around, moving the tree ties around to line up with the plants. So, got some multi-stem cherries. Autumn is kicking in. Seen some of the sales area to our customers. You've seen a large proportion of our new goods receiving stock handling area. I've walked you down through some of the shop area, some of the dry goods area, and now the tree field. I can talk till the cows come home, so I only have an hour. So I want to thank you all for having the walk around the nursery. I'm now going to go back to my desk so I can answer all your questions if you have any live, because this is live, really, honestly. So I'm going to go back to my office and talk to you in a sec. Thank you. See you in a sec. Right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for 50 minutes of torture. I do apologise about that.
It's very good.
It was very good.
Very good, Chad. Very good.
Okay, does any of you guys have any questions you want to chuck my direction?
Right, so we've got a question from Alan Jones. How large is the nursery site, and how many other nurseries in the UK are doing something similar to Provender?
Okay, the site's on about 14 or 15 acres. We have more space to potentially move into, but we've just added the new yard area, the new tunnel, the new shed, the new goods receiving tunnel is about 2.5 acres. So that's just giving us a whole pile more space to do what we do behind the scenes far better. How many cash and carries or re-wholesalers in the UK? There's probably about 8 or 9 around London. Some of them specialise just in large plants or specialise in garden centre plants. And there's also some businesses that just specialise in the sundries, the soils aspect of it. As far as I'm aware, I think we are probably the only company that tries to do it all in one location. I'm not aware of anybody quite like us else in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answers your question, Alan.
Yep. Yeah, very impressive. Thanks, Richard.
Our biggest problem was when we built the site originally, and some of you guys might have been to the cash and carry IPS many years ago, but the actual size of our selling area hasn't really expanded. Our biggest problem was our backyard space. We were just on top of each other, and the busier we got, we were just tying ourselves up in knots with congestion about not having, we were having to move stock 3 times to get to the stock that we actually need. And so just by having a larger yard, a more covered area, it allows us to handle stock probably less, but more efficiently. So our sales last year increased by about 20%, 25%. We added another 1.8 million to the turnover last year. We expect to do something similar this year, but the customers don't want to shop from a bigger area. We just have to fill the area they buy from quicker and more efficiently. And hopefully what the new area we've just built will allow us to do that, oh God willing. So yeah, the bigger you are, the more you have to look after, the more space you have to look after, more maintenance you have to look after. So we don't really want to expand the site, but just do what we do better.
Okay. Right, next question from Foco. Do you have to do nature compensation plantings when you build greenhouses, or do paving?
No, not at the moment. We have to collect all the rainwater, and some of the block paving is permeable block paving, so we don't add to flooding. There was no balancing act in having to plant areas, but we have planted all our boundaries and a large part of the entrance up. We have the whole site probably is over 1 acre planted already, and there's actually a lot of plantings among the nursery that I probably didn't point out. Lots of hedgerows among the nursery that we actually use. So we do a lot of planting on site, but we're not required to. Well, we haven't up to now anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Further to that, I think it depends which area of the country you're in. Certainly in Worcestershire, we have to. If we're going to build new tunnels or put roadways down, we have to plant a certain amount of hedgerows and trees, and so many things have to be reinstated. I think it just depends on which area you're in the country.
Yeah, depending on planning. Hello, Carl.
That's excellent, Richard. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah. Is there any more questions?
Yeah, Richard, what percentage do you import from the continent and versus what you buy from domestically?
Okay, percentages, if you look at percentages on value, I'd say it's probably about 75% by value we import. If you go by volume, we probably have about 50-50, because most of the smaller stock, 2-3 litre, we actually, and all the herbaceous and loads of the climbers and fruit, a lot of that is UK grown. So, and that we do replace in the spring and summer. It's a larger stock that we bring in from the continent. That's how higher value. We are heavily reliant on the continent for importing. A lot of UK nurseries have put virtually all their focus on growing for retail. Probably about 20 years ago, there was a large proportion of nurseries growing for amenity and a large proportion going for retail. But there is very few nurseries in the UK now to grow for amenity market. So, and we just can't afford the retail product in the UK, and the retail product is such demand at the moment that there's no way as a rewholesaler I can afford to buy the stock in and rewholesale it from a UK nursery. Sometimes we pick up on some leftover lines or some end of lines from UK production for retail, but it's quite rare. It's been a very strong market the last 3 or 4 years. So we have to heavily rely on UK or non-UK suppliers. And there are certain lines we just can't get enough of. Like you just can't find skimmias in quantity and volume in the UK. So there are certain lines we have to go to the continent for. They are just better at growing some of these lines than we are in the UK. It's sad really, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Another one for you, Richard, is what impact has Brexit had on the business?
Well, to be honest with you, a large proportion of the okay, let's start this again. We got planning permission to build our yard and shed 11 years ago, but for one reason or another, we kept on putting it off because it was such a financial commitment. But then about 3 years ago, we said, well, if Brexit kicks off and all this, we have to handle stock more efficiently, bring stock in more efficiently, bring full loads in. And we've been driving towards getting this done by the end of August this year, which we're finished it literally yesterday or the day before. But Brexit isn't a problem. It has created headaches for sure, and it is what it is. The process for bringing new material in is quite it's a lot of work. We have a full-time member of staff now virtually doing paperwork, phytosanitary certificates, customs clearance, contacting with DEFRA, if the stock has to go in isolation, how long it's for and whatever. We have a full-time member of staff doing that. But the costs per truck, one trolley of one tree is the same for a whole truckload. So when we bring trucks in from the continent now, we try and bring full truckloads every time, because it's £180 inspection if it's one trolley off one truck, or if it's 42 trolleys off one truck. So if the only thing it's actually done is forced us to buy fuller trucks less often, or we have to keep a control on costs. You know, we could bring in smaller deliveries more regularly, but it's a huge sum of money being given away on inspections and paperwork. So probably the biggest effect on us is bringing bigger trucks in, full trucks in on a less often basis.
Yeah. Okay. And then another one, have you had any staffing issues? You know, whether you've got recruitment issues, do you employ a lot of UK labour, or have you had to rely on foreign?
Okay, I am for a long time. I was the foreign member of staff, being a Paddy. So all our staff are local within reason, 30-40 minute drive to work. They're all UK residents. Some of them are Eastern European who've been in the UK 10 or 15 years. I don't really care where my staff come from, as long as they care about the job and all the rest we can teach. We work really hard to try and look after our staff. It's an important thing to me. We try and give a lot of staff an opportunity. I was given an opportunity many years ago to do something, and I took it. And I try and give as much of our staff an opportunity to do things so they can look and learn and listen and improve. We haven't lost many staff over the last year. We've lost one or two people moving away. We generally don't have too much of a difficulty sourcing new members of staff. We generally just tell the staff who we have we're looking for another member of staff, and they recommend a friend, a cousin, a neighbor, a school friend, and we generally use the network of who we have. We are looking for a specialist quoting person the last few months, and we have struggled to find that. But a year and a half ago, we took on a kind of a mantra in the company to grow our own staff. So we have identified 10 or 15 members of staff who put their hands up who wants to progress through the company. And we sit down with them once every 6 or 8 weeks and bring them up to speed of what's going on. And if something happens in the company and there's an opportunity arises, we go to these guys and girls first and say, listen, there's an opportunity coming in a few months' time. Are you willing to give it a go? So we have a very open discussion with our staff. They are part of the team. You know, without the staff, I have no business. So they are really, really important. And we keep them involved in everything. As I said, the Friday before we shot that video on the site, we had the staff party and all the staff brought their husbands and wives and kids along, and we played football and table tennis, and we just had a really lovely evening on a Friday evening. It's the first thing we've done for nearly 2 years. But it was just really good to get all the staff together. We try and make it as friendly. There's 9 dogs on site on a daily basis. Loads of staff bring their dogs to site. We've had to build dog kennels. You know, if people want time off, you know, we rather them phone up and say, Richard, or I need an hour off, I'll be in an hour late, instead of phoning up with a terrible cold. So we have my HR lady who started about 1.5 years ago. She hates me. Because I try and make it as free for everybody as I can, as long as nobody abuses it. But during the lockdown, everybody mucked in. I have to say, we looked at furloughing some of the staff. We only furloughed 5 or 6 members of staff because either they were ill or their husband or spouse was seriously ill. So we kept everybody during lockdown, first lockdown. We only furloughed, 5-6 people out of 65 people at a time on the site. So everyone wanted to come to work and go to work and do work. So I was very grateful to them, very grateful.
And what percentage have you got full-time to part-time?
I keep all my staff 12 months of the year. I don't let anybody go. 70% of them are full-time Monday to Friday, and then the other 25% are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, or do a short day. I've got a handful of staff who do from 9:30 till 2, and they help cover the phones during a busy time or flexi hours a little bit. So yeah, it's a real feast. We got some members of staff who want to work spring and summer or early summer. Then when our kids break up, we don't see them for 6 months or 5 weeks in the summer, and then they come back in the autumn, which suits us because July and August can be quiet. So we have a real mix. We really, really have a real mix. So and it can make staffing, especially the sales positions, I would like them full time. It's very hard for a salesperson to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because when they come back in after being off Thursday, Friday, all hell's broken loose, especially in the spring. So, and we shelled out, we bought 15, 16 laptops during the first lockdown, and we had a lot of people remote working, which was, the first few weeks was quite fun. But then after a while, it became really quite hard to manage who was doing what, who wasn't doing what, who needed support and wasn't shouting, who was drowning with work. So we've had to learn very quickly how to try and manage remote workers. But after saying that, a lot of people wanted to come back and work on site. Nobody really wanted to stay at home. We found that everybody wanted to come back on site. The novelty wore off.
Mm-hmm. Are there any more questions?
I have one, Richard. It's a bit of a boring one. Why is it do you choose block paving over concrete? And is there a major cost difference?
Concrete, you have a lot of runoff. The water has to go into the drains. The site is on top of chalk. So all we have to go down about 6-9 inches in places on top of pure chalk. So we have a natural permeable rain collection method underneath the site. And also if an area drops or something cracks, we can just pop an area up, drop a pipe down, we can fix it. Whether fixing concrete, it's quite hard. And also we also went to 3 or 4 factories nearby and said to them, we need up to 5,000 square meters this year. And a lot of them delivered to us in January and February and March when they weren't busy. And so we stockpiled it and they delivered it when they had when the trucks shortage wasn't a shortage. So we just piled it up and said, you deliver whenever you want, but we want it cheaper. So yeah, it's and we also bought a lot of seconds and rejects. It doesn't look like it in places, but we cleared up a lot of yards around us with different companies. But block paving works for us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody, anything else? Tim, do you want to say something, or are you waving goodbye? You're on mute, Tim.
I just wanted to ask, for as long as I've known you working where you are now, you've expanded every single year, and some years exponentially.
Yeah.
Do you ever see an end to this expansion, or is the whole of London going to be covered?
No. What we've done this year is huge. We normally try and invest about 200 to 250,000 back in the site every year. This year we probably touched £1 million one way or another this year on site in infrastructure. So I need the next 2 years to behave myself, sit in my hands really, and just do minimal work. We would like another Provender site somewhere else in the country, but the right location is really important. But a smaller version of what we do really. But our target is 10 million within 2 years. So we did 8.6 this year. So we're hoping to hit 8 next year, 8.25 actually. So, but what worries me the most is stock availability. Really, I don't actually know whether I'll be able to achieve it because I don't have enough stock to sell. There's a lot of 2 and 3 liter stock out there, but you go looking for hedging specimen stock, there really is a shortage around Europe, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to
be higher than our prices.
It's a 3 or 5 year turnaround, I'd say. Yeah. So. Yeah, we like to continue to continue chase turnover and be profitable. We had our best profit. Yeah, on paper, our year end finished the end of August, and we're looking at a £601,000 profit out of 6.6 million. So, and that was our best as a percentage ever. So, you could argue it's not enough out of that turnover.
Mm-hmm. Richard, do you see yourself, obviously you're going to dabble in potting your own lavender?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself, if you did get another site somewhere, actually turn into more growing of your own with future stock shortages?
Well, we have been potting root ball stock at Hadlow College the last 3 years. We got 2 Arctic loads of plants arriving there next week or the week after, and that'll be our last year at Hadlow College. We have taken on a nursery that's about 5 acres of production, and we're doing on about 2 acres of it this year. And in 2 years' time, we'll have all 5 acres. It's my neighbour here near where I live, so that'll be coming on board. And I'm talking to a soft fruit grower that's got 50 acres of tunnels, and we may take on a percentage of his tunnels to grow hedging under. yeah, it's a real concern. But yeah, it's a lot. Alan and I exchanged an email 2 weeks ago about today's event. You know, and I sat beside Alan on a bus in Ireland 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 12 years ago, and our businesses were so similar but yet so different, and a lot of crossover. But he's a grower that's a re-wholesaler, and I'm a re-wholesaler who's becoming a grower. And it made me think about the conversation the other day that, you know, it's easy for I have a market for X amount of plants. We know we sell 30,000 lavenders a year. So if I grow 30,000 lavenders a year, I should be able to sell them. But can I grow them as well as the growers? That's what I don't know at the moment. So hedging, like laurels, we sell 10, 12,000 10-liter laurels a year. So if we can grow 10,000 of our own laurels, all well and good, but we have to demonstrate that we're good growers at the moment. So we have a year or two's work and learning and skills to learn. So and lavender is not an easy crop to start growing.
That was going to be my next question: is are you having to invest in new staff to? Because you always said to me, Richard, since I've known you, I don't grow a thing. I never grow anything. We just buy it, we sell it, we move it out, don't do it. But obviously, it's the crop protection issues and all that whole crop husbandry thing is a whole set of new skills, isn't it?
Yeah. Nursery steward, my nursery manager, has some experience with that before he came to me 10 years ago. So he has some experience, but you know, we went and bought a secondhand potting machine the other day, and the two of us were like putting kids in a toy store. You know, this is something. You know, it's 12 years old, but it'll work absolutely fine. You know, we're not doing. There yesterday, I believe that are going for the first time, and they're doing 650 lavenders an hour, and they were well happy. So, but yeah, we're having to learn. We're having, you know, every day's a school day. You know, the one thing I do like is whenever you come across a problem, you got two options. You either run away, go, what do I do? Or you find a solution. You know, and a lot of, you know, somebody said to me the other day, Richard, you're solution driven. Well, I said, if there's a problem, what else are you going to do? So if there's a problem, you have to find a solution. You know, and sometimes those solutions are painfully expensive, painfully hard, or sometimes they're blatantly obvious. So if you don't have enough water in sight, but you collect it, you know, so I just think as a general rule, if something goes wrong, we try and fix it. So, you know, if we don't have the skills, sorry.
You've also got a lot of grower friends in front of you here that you can lean on as well.
Absolutely. Don't worry, don't you worry. You know, I was Stuart and I was talking about compost tea on a phone earlier on this morning about using compost tea on lavenders, and we're looking at options and compost mixes. So, you know, there's always stuff to learn. You know, and the joy of being an IPPS member and traveling around Europe buying is you see an awful lot. You know, that is a real pleasure. Like when I walked around the nursery with Dave shooting this video, you know, Dave said, what don't you want to show? And I said, well, just show it all, show behind the scenes, show the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, so it's important. You learn as much about how nurseries don't do things as they do things. So yeah. Yeah, the hardest part of the whole thing was borrowing money, because the bank does not want to give horticulture any money. So, you know, thankfully, the one good thing out of the COVID thing was that it became a lot easier to borrow money because the Bank of England guaranteed it. So I went with both hands and borrowed 350,000 out of the Sybil's loan scheme, which is Bank of England backed, which was the springboard of making a lot of this work happen this year. So yeah, I've got $7,000 a month, whatever it is, $8,000 a month for the next 6-7 years to pay. But I'm hoping to get a lot of that back on efficiencies and how we handle stock and less damages and speed of material going through the system. That's what I hope. You know, this time next year when I'm crying and all went horribly wrong, asking one of you guys for a job, it'll be a different story. But you know. Yeah. Anything, anybody?
Richard, one last question on pricing. Are you able to raise prices? Because in the US this year, we're seeing all nurseries across the country finally raising prices anywhere up to 10, 12%, partly because of a shortage and also a huge demand, but it's something that's been long coming.
Yeah, no, prices are absolutely on the move. And there's a few aspects to this. Firstly, there are nurseries in the continent who do not want to export to the UK. So in my view, there's less nurseries exporting to the UK. So that's a shortage. And the nurseries that are exporting don't have as much stock. So the price of the stock has gone up if you want it. Then the paperwork, the process to get it to you, and in my view, is nearly £1,000 a load, really, realistically. The haulage company then has to spend potentially more time getting the stock to you because it has to be inspected and stopped and checked. So the haulage company is charging more. So by the time you add on all the cost ex nursery, the cost of getting it to you, the transport and availability, some lines are gone up. Some lines are touching 20%, Alan. Yeah. You know, there's a substantial. You know, and I just, you know, and the big unknown in UK horticulture going forward is what we're actually going to pot plants into in the UK, because with the disappearance of peat as a growing media, I don't even know how UK production is going to produce plants in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, because there's not enough peat substitute in the UK alternative at the moment. So, you know, we're in for a rocky road. Yeah. How are you getting stock in, Carl, and other people? Are you finding it okay bringing stock in?
It's been a bit tighter this year because buying young plants in it's been okay. It's more expensive. It's certainly much cheaper for us to produce our own, which we're really pleased that we propagate, because we propagate about 60% of what we sell anyway.
Brilliant.
But it has been more challenging, but not terrible. It's been okay, but we only buy obviously young plants in, which can be turned around a lot quicker. But last summer did have an impact on things coming in, and production was definitely cut, and we relied heavily on our own prop to do that. Absolutely. Yeah. But you're right, prices are definitely going up across the board. I mean, we're having to get price for everything. Yeah, and the compost, the grow media issue is a big issue. And I don't think people quite understand the enormity of it in the moment. And it seems everything is being relied on is wood fibre at the moment, and there's not enough of that anyway. And all the associated water issues that go with it, the additional water and everything that goes with it, nutrition leaching, and there's a whole raft of things we're going to face in the next few years, I think. So,
well, if somebody said to me there's 2 million cubic meters of peat used annually in the UK in commercial horticulture, and there's only quarter of that available as wood substitute. So what are we going to use for the other 3/4 of growing media? So yeah, well, there's a huge shortfall. So I think we're in for a real shock. And you think when you see ships turning up to the Irish ports delivering peat to Ireland, you know, that's a serious story. You know, that is selling ice to the Eskimos. You know, there's more peat in Ireland than anything else, and then the ships arriving up with it. So, you know, we're in for a real shock here, and I don't think the dust it's kicked off properly yet on this one.
Yeah, from our point of view, with the peat thing, it's. For our customers, there's more pressure on them for retail products to sell peat-free, but there's not so much pressure on them to have peat-free plants, peat-free in centres yet. Yet on growers, there's quite a bit of pressure to grow in peat-free, but they can go and buy from the continent with peat pots, but not the pressure because they're not in the UK. So it's a bit of a challenge, and things are different, but. We can bleat about it, but we just got to do it.
Well, we have a challenging time coming, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, folks, is that it? Do you want to go home? It's 5:30. I just realised. Sorry.
No,
you're
well,
right.
Richard, I thought that was fantastic, mate. Thank you very much for your time, and that was. I've got a lot to do.
Yeah, Richard, thank you. That was great. We'll have to arrange an international field trip so we can come over and visit in person.
Okay, well, I can do an international walk around into the States if you want. Yeah, I'm really sorry, but my days of television presentation is never going to go. I never realized I played with my hands so much during that presentation. So I do apologize, everybody, but thank you for putting up with me.
No, it was superb, Richard.
Thank you. You're all being very kind.
Thanks, Richard. And I think you're next, aren't you, Carl? So everyone check your inboxes. I think hopefully November we'll be having Carl and a tour around Bransford Webs, and then hopefully the start of December we'll be having Bent. So we've still got 2 more to come. So keep
I'm not sure if it's not the
other way around.
I'm not sure if it's not the other way around, Vicky, actually.
We'll discuss it at the committee meeting on Wednesday. But yeah, we've definitely got 2 more still to come. And yeah, we've got Carl and we've got Ben. So 2 more members still around there. So thank you all so much for your time. Please spread the word to get more people on as well. If you know anyone that's a member that wasn't on today, then ask them to come on, because it is nice to see all your faces and have a catch up as well as have a look around the nursery.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you,
It's
Pauline.
okay. Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Nice to see you all.
Yeah,
Nice to
thanks.
see you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.